facing criminal charges after being incorrectly deported to El Salvador. His lawyers call the charges baseless. The White House says it intends to deport Garcia if he is released from criminal custody. More anti-government protests have turned deadly in Kenya. Anger boiled over in Nairobi on Monday, where human rights officials say at least 11 people were killed and many more were injured. Police clashed with demonstrators and used tear gas and water cannon. This is happening on the 35th anniversary of a pro-democracy rally. You're watching the Connect World and Becky Anderson for you 25 to 7 here in Abu Dhabi. Crews in Texas still in search and rescue mode, of course, for those missing after those massive flash floods in the US state. Straight ahead, what many survivors say might have helped before the storm hit. That is up next.
As a young adult, it was amusing. Now, it's therapeutic. Rediscover 90s alternative grunge on Lithium. Channel 34. Or listen at home with the SiriusXM app. Hey folks, I have great news. You can now donate your car and help support Tunnel to Towers. The process is quick and simple, and the proceeds from your generous car donation will go to support the good work that T2D is doing throughout our community. Plus, you benefit by getting a nice tax deduction, and you avoid the hassle of trying to sell that old car. So if you have an extra car and you want to help Tunnel to Towers to help our dedicated veterans, just call 888-980-VETS. Or you can donate your car online at todaysveterans.org. That number again to donate your car and support Tunnel to Towers is 888-980-VETS. That's 888-980-VETS. Or simply go online at todaysveterans.org. Any car is accepted, and they'll pick it up for free. Your car donation really does make a difference. So go online at todaysveterans.org or call 888-980-VETS and donate your car today.
In the pursuit of speed and playable distance, Titleist has engineered a new class of drivers. Titleist GT marks the biggest technological leap ever in Titleist driver design, delivering unmatched speed, launch, and stability for total driving performance. Discover the next generation of driving excellence with Titleist GT. Visit Titleist.com to find a fitter near you.
Well, many survivors of the Texas flooding say they received no weather alerts or flood warnings in the hours before the deluge hit. CNN's Isabel Rosales is on the ground and reports now on how this tragedy played out hour by hour, with surging floodwater catching so many people off guard.
Texas is grieving right now.
Grieving and bracing for more rain, as urgent rescues are still underway for dozens who are missing after the devastating floods that ravaged central Texas over the holiday weekend, bursting the seams of the Guadalupe River and taking the lives of at least 104 people, including 27 campers and counselors from a summer camp in Kerr County.
There's still 10 girls and 1 counselor from Camp Mystic that are not accounted for. And the pain and agony of not knowing your child's whereabouts, it's the worst thing imaginable.
4 months of rain fell in a matter of hours that disrupted that fast-moving floodwater beginning just before sunrise on the 4th of July. The river rising 22 feet in just 30 minutes, taking everything in its path with it. And many are asking why alerts weren't received and evacuations didn't take place.
Well, evacuation is a delicate balance, because if you evacuate too late, you then risk putting buses, or cars or vehicles or campers on roads into low water areas trying to get them out, which then can make it even more challenging, because these flash floods happen very quickly. It's very tough to make those calls, because what we also don't want to do is cry wolf.
But many families wishing they had taken that chance. The timeline, as we know it now. The first flood watch was issued on Thursday in the afternoon, and in the early evening at 6:30 Central Time. Then the first emergency alert came out at 1:14 the morning of the 4th, and then again at 4:03 issued for Kerrville at 5:24 a.m. And then at 5:34, an emergency alert was issued for the Guadalupe River area. But phone alerts were reportedly not received by some people in an area known to have spotty cell service. 19 different local and state agencies are working urgently to find those still missing. Some rescue teams using the aid of cadaver dogs in their search. A man in Center Point, Texas, heard the screams of a young woman who was clinging to a tree after being swept away in floodwater from a camping site miles away with her family.
I didn't know that she was in a tree, but as it turned out, I finally spotted her in the tree, and I began to yell back across to her that, "Hey, I see you, I'm going to get help."
And many others have come out to volunteer their time in search before the next rainfall comes.
I figured I can at least come and help relieve them of some stress and exhaustion. Now, I know that up towards Hunt and everything, they're still expecting possibly more storm surges, so we have to be
It's a big problem.
Yeah, and we have to be on the lookout for that too.
This is rough and rural terrain that volunteers and first responders are having to go over. Also dangerous debris at points. If it's not the heavy tree limbs, then it's down barbed wire that people are stepping over. Even fire ants that I have seen fighting up the volunteers. And take a look right over there. You see that? That is a paddle boat all the way up on that tree. A reminder of just how powerful these floodwaters were, and a reminder also to look up. Isabel Rosales, CNN, Center Point, Texas.
Well, search and rescue teams are refusing to give up hope in their efforts to find survivors of this weekend's flash floods. Meanwhile, communities mourning for those who were lost, including at least 28 victims, who of course were children. CNN's Tom Foreman with more.
In the wake of the rising Texas floodwaters, the list of victims is growing.
Oh my God.
Especially at Camp Mystic, where more than 24 campers and counselors died. Lila Bonner was there, enjoying the summer before 3rd grade. Her parents wrote, "We ache with all who loved her." They say she was killed with her cabin mate and best friend, Eloise Peck. Her family says she loved spaghetti, dogs, and animals. A vigil was quickly called for Lily McCown and Mary Stevens, 2 elementary school-age victims from Boston. While elsewhere, families were mourning Renee Smallsfrell, Jamie Hunt, and Hadley Hannah, who was enjoying her first year at the camp. Her mom said she was the most joyful, happy kid. Anna Margaret Bellows came from Houston. Sarah Marsh came from near Birmingham. And camp owner Dick Eastland came to the rescue as hundreds of campers were pulled to safety. His grandson says Eastland lost his life trying to reach more, noting on Instagram, if he wasn't going to die of natural causes, this was the only other way, saving the girls that he so loved and cared for.
I've lost 2 friends. We loved them. And they're gone.
The search for the flood victims is stretching over dozens of miles along rivers and creeks, valleys and trees.
We've seen the debris fields here. I mean, there's probably people possibly buried in some of those debris fields, and it's going to take a long time to get those folks out.
Anywhere anyone might be.
You just want them to be found for the sakes of the families. Well, you know it's not going to be a good ending.
It was not good for the Harbor family. Blair, 13, and Brooke, 11, disappeared along with their grandparents. The family says the girls were found holding hands in death. No word on the grandparents. Jane Ragsdale was the owner of another nearby summer camp. It was empty, but she died there just the same.
The RV park was just gone. Yeah, everything. It was, it's wasn't on this earth anymore.
Greg White's friend Bill Houston is nowhere to be found, although White says the body of Bill's dog Sage was discovered in the debris. High school soccer coach Reese Zunker and his wife Paula were swept away. Psychologist and college professor Catherine Eads too. And even as some campers have ridden away from the calamity singing songs of faith, sad search for more victims goes on. Tom Foreman, CNN.
We'll be right back afterwards.
Do you owe $10,000 relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the relief hotline at 800-515-8832. 800-515-8832. 800-515-8832.
Hi, this is professional golfer Mark O'Mara. When it came to building my personal putting green, I called Celebrity Greens, the leader in customized synthetic golfer greens. Celebrity Greens designed an amazing backyard green for me and a synthetic lawn area for my dogs that looks and acts just like natural grass. You can't beat Celebrity Greens' attention to detail and exceptional customer service. Learn how to create a championship putting green in your own backyard. Call the pros at Celebrity Greens, 1-888-507-7960, or visit them online at celebritygreens.com.
Well, F1, the movie, is racing towards a $300 million global box office take. F1 has already become Apple's biggest cinema release ever after less than 2 weeks on theatre debut. Those who've seen the blockbuster know the climatic race scene is set here in Abu Dhabi, just like in the real Formula One season. To bring the drama of that race to the silver screen required a unique partnership produced by Apple, distributed by Scenic's parent company Warner Brothers, and supported by partners here on the ground in the UAE. The Creative Media Authority and Abu Dhabi Film Commission provided a range of production support, including nearly 300 local crew, a cash rebate scheme, as well, and access to some of the most iconic filming locations like Yas Marina Circuit. Well, I sat down with director Joseph Kosinski and producer Jerry Bruckheimer to talk everything from this epic filming location to Brad Pitt's grueling training schedule. Have a listen.
It's a real immersive, it's Rocky on steroids. It's a fun ride. It even has fireworks for the 4th of July, so we got it all.
An apt description of F1 the movie from someone who knows movies. Film producing legend Jerry Bruckheimer, who spoke to me alongside director Joseph Kosinski about a film that is not just this summer's latest blockbuster, but a technical feat that melded the grit of a 200-mile-an-hour car race with the magic of Hollywood.
We had like 8 cameras rolling simultaneously, just the energy of a real Grand Prix, fireworks going off in the background, and to have our actors pull off one of the most critical scenes in the film in 2 takes was obviously very high pressure. I've never quite had anything like that, but at the same time, we're able to capture something so special in that moment, and be able to show it on screen, to me, is the whole reason we did this film.
I just wonder how this kind of unique combination of Hollywood talent and F1 expertise elevated the authenticity and real ambition of this film's storyline. Jerry, let me start with you.
Well, it all started with Joe watching Drive to Survive during the pandemic. So he said, we should do a movie about Formula One. And he came up with a really unique story. And the first call he made was to Lewis Hamilton. What we did is we met with Lewis. That was the first thing we did. Joe pitched the story, and Lewis said, I'm in. The next thing is Joe called Brad, and he said, we got Lewis Hamilton already involved, and Brad was right there. As soon as he heard Lewis's name, he showed up. The next thing we had to do is all 3 of us went to London to meet with Stefano, who's head of F1, and try to convince him to make this movie the way we wanted to make it.
Brad Pitt has described the adrenaline and fear of trusting the car at high speed, saying it is the most visceral feeling he has ever had on a film. Just walk me through how you worked with him
Well, Brad trained for 4 months along with Damson Idris, his co-star, to drive these cars. So we started in kind of street cars, and then he advanced up through all the classes of racing until he got to the point that he could drive one of these real race cars on the track. And it took 4 months, and it was very brutal training, but he had some of the best teachers in the world, including Lewis Hamilton, advising him. And luckily Brad has that natural talent, and when you see him concentrating in this film on keeping the car on the track, that is not acting. That is him really trying to keep the car on the track and hit the racing line, and then he had to act at the same time, plus he had 4 cameras in his face, plus he had 140,000 people watching him in the crowd, and 100 million people on TV. So it was a very, very high pressure situation for an actor to be in, but he loved every moment in the car. Sometimes he'd be smiling in scenes where he wasn't supposed to be smiling because he was having so much fun.
What did Lewis Hamilton bring to the party, as it were?
Well, he brought the realism. We'd show him a sequence that Joe had cut together, and he's, well, you're at Silverstone, you're in turn 2. I hear you're in 3rd gear, I'd be in 2nd gear. In turn 5, you can't pass on turn 5. If you do, there's an accident. We use that. We had one session where it was 12 hours of Lewis, our writer, Joe, Jeremy, myself, and Brad in a room going through every single line of the script to make it absolutely perfect. And that's his expertise all through the movie.
Kosinski's massive blockbuster success with Top Gun, Maverick, made moviegoers feel like they were literally in the cockpit. So he was uniquely prepared with this film to put them in the driver's seat.
We learned on Top Gun that when you make the effort to shoot something for real, the audience can really feel that. The camera system we developed for Top Gun would not work in Formula One. The cameras were just too big and bulky and would ultimately weigh the car down and slow it down. We worked very closely with Sony to develop a new prototype camera system that was much, much smaller and still had IMAX quality.
Yeah, the other thing we did is since Apple financed the movie, we took one of their iPhone cameras, they enhanced it so it could be IMAX, and put it on 2 real race cars in the real F1 races. So what you're seeing in some of the point of views, you're going to see the guys going 220 miles an hour down those racetracks. It's spectacular.
I was at Yas Marina Circuit ahead of the filming of the final climactic scene. The shooting plan was well under wraps, but there was a buzz. And then, suddenly, Brad Pitt and Damson Idris walked out onto the track, filming in front of a cheering crowd on one of the world's most famous racing tracks that hosts the final and often decisive race of the season.
We're going after authenticity, and as you said, Abu Dhabi is the final race of the season, so that certainly was my first choice to be able to end the film there. The track itself, the whole complex, is spectacular, just visually. There is nothing else like it on the schedule. For Abu Dhabi to be the finale, to be in that stunning location, to have a race that starts at dusk and goes into the night, it's spectacular.
The Abu Dhabi Film Commission and the Emirates Creative Media Authority partnered on the production. I asked how that collaboration impacted the ultimate product.
We worked with local people on our crew, which was fantastic. Abu Dhabi is an incredible host to us. I loved shooting there. The footage speaks for itself. So just from a creative point of view, it was my first choice. And then to have those incentives and just the way how smooth it was to work there and how wonderful the whole process was, making it so easy for us, so film friendly. It makes me want to go back and find something else to shoot there.
Even in the age of streaming, these filmmakers understand just how valuable a big theatrical release can be to the success of a film like F1 the movie. But it's about reaching as many people as possible.
前方500米处，前方发生交通事件。
Make a movie as immersive as this movie. You want to see it on the big screen. You want to go through sound. You want a communal experience. You want to go out and have a great meal. You want to.
前方2公里处靠左行驶。
It's something that's fun, emotional, and romantic. And that's what, when I go to a movie, that's what I want.
A movie like this that's made for the big screen, you know, with Atmos sound and everything we put into it, absolutely. Your first experience with a film, if it is in the theater with a big group of people, and you
前方1公里，请靠左行驶，然后继续沿着 I-90东行驶。
venues down the road.
Brad Pitt has said he's up for an F1 sequel as long as he's driving again, he says. Is that on the cards? Is that in the works?
The audience will tell us if they want to see more. So, you know, we like Jerry said, we're gonna let it play all summer long, and then of course there's always going to be those ideas.
现在靠左行驶，然后继续沿着 I-90东行驶。
You know, pack them in like we have been, and it keeps playing. Apple wants to make another one.
Well, it's starting.
Connect the world. Stay with CNN. One World is up next.
This summer, the smooth never stops on Yacht Rock Radio. Weekends begin with Club Yacht Rock. Sundays keep it cool with Yacht Soul Sundays.
It's an hour of smooth R&B and soul hosted by yours truly, Al Rooker.
In between, smooth and soft rock from the 70s and 80s. Yacht Rock Radio, Channel 15 all summer, and at home with the Sirius XM app on your phone, computer, Alexa, TV, or other internet-connected devices.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free no-risk consultation. 800-278-1120. 800-278-1120. You have nothing to lose, but everything to gain. 800-278-1120.
Attention investors, there's a major real estate correction happening. I'm investing in it, and you should too. My name's Grant Cardone, CEO of Cardone Capital, where we manage $4 billion of institutional quality real estate and partner with regular, everyday investors just like yourself. You get all the benefits of great real estate without any of the headaches. I find the deal, negotiate it, buy it, improve it, collect the rent, and on the 15th, distribute cash flow to our investors. We have a proven model distributing over $300 million to our 13,000 investors. In Cardone Capital, we target 12 to 15% IRR, 6% cash flow, and we buy the best markets, best locations, below replacement costs, and cash flow positive at close. To see if you qualify, go to CardoneCapital.com. That's CardoneCapital.com to see if you qualify.
Individual results may vary. There's no guarantee that past performance will be indicative of future results. Invest wisely. See full disclosure at CardoneCapital.com.
Golfers over 50 need to hear this. You have a problem no one is talking about. Longevity. Are you losing distance? Dealing with pain or discomfort? Or losing mobility? Maybe you can't play 2 days in a row. Or are worried about surviving a golf trip with your buddies. Par for Success has helped over $15,000 just like you. With science-backed, one-on-one online golf fitness coaching that fits your schedule. No bother time to come back later. Take the free 5-minute assessment to get your answers at parforsuccess.com. That's par4success.com.
Navigating life stages, Caring Transitions offers support for every step of the way. For seniors relocating to downsizing, we offer a compassionate, individualized approach that provides comprehensive solutions. Estate sales, our experts will list your items on their exclusive online platform, CP Goods. Preserving memories and keeping your family's best interest at heart. And for those tough cleanouts, we're here to help. Visit CaringTransitions.com. Caring Transitions, embracing new beginnings with confidence.
It's a new year, and you've got an all-new driver. But every golfer
distance, and tighter dispersion downfield. This season, love your driver more. Upgrade to the legendary feel and performance of the new Yamaha 6th Generation Driver Shaft with your next purchase, or give it a try at your next fitting. Now available in 3 distinct profiles to match any swing. Find the right Yamaha for your swing at MitsubishiGolf.com.
While watching one round, we are expecting a really busy hour of news in terms of the US president. He's expected to hold a cabinet meeting at the White House where he typically does weigh in on a range of issues. So we're waiting for that.
And also, as you see on your screen there, Central Texas officials in hard-hit Kerr County are about to give us another update on search and rescue operations after those devastating flash floods that killed now at least 105 people. Early on July 4th, of course, so many others still missing.
And let's begin with the flooding that Bianca was just talking about, the ongoing rescue operation. Joining us live now is retired Lieutenant General Russell Honore, who led the military response to Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans. Russell, thank you so much for being with us. You know, the task of searching for survivors, I imagine, is really taxing on any sort of rescue team. Physically, emotionally, psychologically, wading through waters. You might encounter debris, for example. You might need equipment that you have to bring with you. And there's also the risk of coming across, a fatality, which, of course, is psychologically difficult for anyone involved in search and rescue. Just walk us through what the process is like for these rescue teams and the toll that it takes on them.
Well, it's hard on the professionals, and then we have a lot of volunteers that are there, and the big challenge becoming having good communications with all the volunteers, that they are part of a search grid, and you have communications with them. And remember, we still have weather warnings of potential flooding in that area. So it's a very complex operation, but the need is there, and you take a lot of risks when you go in to do search and rescue, because you're going in places that are full of debris. The water could be contaminated, and the heat plays a big toll on the first responders and the search teams, as well as they've moved in now the cadaver dogs. They have limited hours of operations that they can be constantly used in this heat, as well as in the environment where there are a lot of humans around that can distract them. So it's a complex operation. At the same time, we've got people in boats where the river is allowing them to get in, because in some places the water is still running too fast because of upstream rainfall that's coming downriver. That makes it complicated to get in the water with your rescue boats and with all the debris in the water as you try to navigate that. So it's a complex operation, but at the county level and at fire stations, that's where the organizing of the boots on the ground happen. And people are required to sign in and let somebody know you're there, and then you get assigned to a search grid if you're a volunteer. Because there are probably as more volunteers there now than there are organized uniform search teams, where the search teams are going the most difficult areas to get to. That is a part of the challenge.
As we're waiting for this press conference to start, obviously, first and foremost is giving everyone there an update. And that conference is starting right now. Let's listen in.
To reunite families. The large search and rescue effort, including local, state, federal, and volunteer agencies, continue. As of 8 a.m. Central Time, 87 deceased have been recovered in Kerr County, including 56 adults and 30 children. Identification is pending for 19 adults and 7 children, with 1 additional person still unidentified. At present, 5 Camp Mystic campers and 1 counselor still remain unaccounted for. We ask private boats to stay off the Guadalupe River to allow search and rescue teams to operate without any interference. This is a tragic time for us. We're so grateful and thankful for all the resources that have been provided to us to do this job. And I can assure you we will not stop until this mission is complete. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to City Mayor.
Thank you for being here. I'm Joe Herring Jr. I'm Mayor of the City of Kerrville. I want to reassure our community and those families that the city, the county, the state, and the federal experts are working together, not separately, but as one team. If you go inside the Emergency Operations Center, you don't see silos. You see one team. I want to talk briefly about in-kind donations. The outpouring of generosity has been tremendous, and we are grateful. We are working on a new system to accept donations. And when those plans are complete, we will post them online on the city's Facebook page. We are grateful. We need a new system to handle the generosity of the world. Financial donations can still go to communityfoundation.net. That's the community foundation of the Texas Hill Country. Again, we are grateful for the generosity of the world. Over and over, I've asked you to pray. It occurred to me that I haven't asked you for what to pray specifically. Please pray for those who mourn, for those who wait, and for those who help. Now I'd like to call on Lieutenant Colonel Ben Baker.
Morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. My name is Ben Baker, Lieutenant Colonel for Texas Game Wardens. I'd like to start out by thanking the Mayor, Sheriff, Chief, our local state partners, Texas Department of Public Safety, and the many others that have responded to this tragic event. We as Texas are strong, and together we face adversity. Your Texas Game Wardens responded in the early mornings of Friday to this tragic event.
前方2公里处驶出右侧出口。
Since the early mornings of Friday, your Texas Gamers have had over 300 game wardens in the area, serving the people of the state of Texas and the citizens of Kirk County. Among that, we've searched 26 river miles since the tragic event has started. We've had approximately 444 rescues, 30 recoveries. Some of our resources and assets we have dedicated to this tragic event include 2 helicopters with hoist teams, 12 drone teams, 10 K9 units, 9 swiftwater boat crews, 15 airboats, 16 UTVs, and 169 four-wheel drive vehicles. Your Texas Game Wardens will remain here and serving the community. We just ask you to continue to pray for the victims, for the families, for your first responders, for everyone involved. We'll open it up now to questions. Anybody has any?
Can you talk about how challenging it is for you guys in the mud, big trees? It's just been like different terrain.
No, thank you for that question. Extremely challenging. You know, we've got, of course, your Texas Game Wardens out there, your local, your state partners, Texas Task Force 1, you've got the National Forest Service out there.
正在计算路径。
Numerous responders with specialized capabilities where we've got these large pile of debris. And with our canines,
请沿道路行驶15公里。
These large piles can be very obstructive, and to get deep into these piles is very hazardous, and those specialized teams have to go in there layer by layer because our first responders, also the safety of them is concerned. So it's extremely treacherous, time consuming, it's dirty work, the water's still there, so we're having to go layer by layer, peeling these off to make those recoveries. So
What about mentally? Like, you guys stumble across someone who may be deceased. How do you process that?
Absolutely. We process it the best we can. We have professionals in place, our crisis intervention team. All the agencies have some members representing there, and officer wellness is a first responder wellness is a key component to these operations. So we're maintaining and monitoring our officer wellness, our first responder wellness. We're making sure they have the support. It's very tragic whenever you see human life, but to see child and that loss of life.
路径包括收费公路。
Daily. And while holidays are nice, they aren't a long-term solution. Don't forget that therapy can be ongoing and can help you build resilience to handle the unexpected challenges that the workday or any day can bring. Finding work-life balance can be hard. Getting the help you deserve, that should be easy. Visit betterhelp.com/CNN for 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/CNN.
CNN Originals, a brand new channel on SiriusXM. Featuring CNN documentary series like The Decades, The United Shades of America with Kamau Bell, This Is Life with Lisa Ling, and Parts Unknown with Anthony Bourdain.
This is absolutely delicious. Tastes like ginger.
And hear chilling HLN true crime series like Something's Killing Me and Very Scary People.
This case is why we lock our doors at night.
It's all on CNN Originals, SiriusXM 121.
Hope is making a comeback. It is making a comeback, and let me tell you something. For the first time in my adult lifetime, I'm really proud of my country. And not just because Barack has done well, but because I think people are hungry for change.
Everybody knew exactly what Michelle meant. This has been a tough country to be black. To say that we're on the verge now, maybe putting some of that behind us, she got smacked down hard for it.
I just want to make the statement that I have and always will be proud of my country.
Michelle Obama was met with every single negative stereotype about African American women magnified by a million. And I think that there were forces that felt that if they humiliated her enough, if they insulted her enough, maybe she and her entire family would just go away. But they didn't.
I called her in to show her what people were seeing, and I turned the sound down and just let her see herself.
In a country, in a world based on fear.
She was out on the campaign trail getting more and more passionate, and she'd been so effective that I didn't see that it was being perceived as angry.
The easy trope of the angry black woman, when in fact what she was displaying was passion.
She had a choice to make. Go back home and pick up life with her children and her high-powered job, or did she just try to figure it out?
In her memoir, Michelle remembers the impact of that moment. This was a turnaround point. No one, I realized, was going to look out for me unless I pushed for it. After a year and a half on the campaign trail, Michelle prepares for her national debut.
She's going to be watched by tens of millions of people, and this would be their first chance to really get to know her.
And Barack and I were raised with so many of the same values. That you treat people with dignity and respect, even if you don't know them, and even if you don't agree with them.
Her favorable rate jumped 20 points overnight.
Then let's stand together to elect Barack Obama, President of the United States of America. Thank you.
CNN can project at 11 o'clock Eastern Time that Barack
Barack Obama is the next president of the United States, the first African-American president in U.S. history.
I would not be standing here tonight without the unyielding support of my best friend, the nation's next First Lady, Michelle Obama.
The next day, headlines said change has come to America. And I remember thinking at the time, people will interpret that headline in very different ways.
Everyone was celebrating, but there was in the back of everyone's mind the fact that in the morning we were going to come in to face a epic financial crisis, 2 wars, and more pressures than any president had faced probably since Franklin Roosevelt. And Michelle, the God's honest truth is I don't think she knew what she was going to make of the position, and it took her some time to figure it out.
There is, as Michelle puts it, no handbook for incoming First Ladies.
We set up the White House as a royal court in a way. And I think for Michelle Obama, a modern woman, a career woman, to suddenly be the great man's wife was an adjustment.
She describes the role as a strange kind of sidecar to the presidency.
The First Lady's not a job. I mean, Hillary Clinton learned that when she turned it into a job. We don't want that. That's going too far.
She said the one that she took the greatest inspiration from was Laura Bush.
注意，前方500米处，前方发生交通事件。
Starts with a simple statement, deeper than it first appears.
Yeah, you know, I joke that my first job is going to be mom-in-chief because with little kids, I have to make sure that their feet are on the ground.
Obviously, she's going to be mom-in-chief.
She's not shy about being the mom-in-chief.
To sort of define her role more as First Lady.
She was concerned about her daughters, but was also just a very savvy.
前方1公里处驶出右侧出口，然后靠左行驶。
Here to make policy, despite my executive experience.
If I want to play the traditional First Lady role, I can play the traditional First Lady role. But don't be fooled. In a country that consistently demonizes Black mothers, Black women as welfare queens, Black women as drug addicts, Black women as the cause of the decline of the Black family, a statement as simple as, I'm first mom and that's my priority, is something that is profound because it's something that's been denied to Black women for so long.
She decided that in creating her role as First Lady, that she was always going to keep in mind the young Michelle Obama. She says in her memoir, I grew up to the sound of striving. And that's what the South Side of Chicago was.
Michelle's great aunt and great uncle bought a house in the neighborhood of South Shore and invited Michelle's mother and father, and of course Michelle and Craig, who were then toddlers, to move in with them.
I grew up playing basketball with Michelle's older brother, Craig. They were shaped by the community. They were forged by the community. And I think she acutely felt the inequity in resources, the inequity in education opportunity.
In many ways, Chicago is the place to create Michelle Obama. It's a place that is undergirded by a lot of the racial tensions and inequality that will shape her viewpoint in the world.
This is where Dr. King went and was defeated. The poverty and the racism in Chicago is so profound that even Dr. King can't move it an inch.
I have never seen, even in Mississippi and Alabama, mobs as hostile and as hate-filled as I'm seeing in Chicago.
Chicago is a place where politicians are corrupt and idealists go to get defeated. I think Americans forget she grew up in the middle of all that.
CNN Originals, a new channel on Sirius XM, presents the classic travel and culture show, Parts Unknown with Anthony Bourdain.
This is absolutely delicious.
You like it?
Oh, yeah, it's fantastic.
As a chef and best-selling author, he explored the far reaches of the globe, seeking the best of cuisine and culture.
Yeah, tamales.
It is a thing of beauty, isn't it?
Parts Unknown with Anthony Bourdain. Weekdays at 9 a.m., noon, and 5 p.m. East on CNN Originals, Channel 453, and on the SiriusXM app.
Hey America, it's time to introduce a new kind of energy drink. One that's not made with the typical junk like sugar and questionable ingredients. Introducing Black Rifle Energy. Packed with 200 milligrams of naturally sourced caffeine, 0 sugar, and the same American spirit that won 2 world wars, landed on the moon, and invented the monster truck. This isn't your typical sugar-loaded jitter in a can energy. This is American energy in a can. It goes big. It doesn't quit. Grab the drink so powerful, it practically declares independence from ordinary beverages. Founded by veterans, Black Rifle Energy is made by people who know what service means and what a good energy drink should taste like. We're on a mission to fuel the toughest days while giving back to those who have served. With every can giving back to veterans, first responders, and their families. Black Rifle Energy is here to help you fight and win your everyday battles. Grab a can and taste the difference. Find it at Walmart or other retailers at blackriflecoffee.com/energy. Black Rifle Energy. America, your energy.
They're pounding on the door. They're calling on the phone. They're threatening to close your business. If debt has your business on the brink, call Ray Reynolds, the godfather of credit. For over 40 years, Ray Reynolds has helped thousands of customers get millions in cash credit. It's no wonder why they call Ray the godfather of credit. He may even be able to raise your score above 750 before the end of the year. You could even get a new personal or business credit line up to $50,000 within days. If your credit needs a rebuild, call Ray Reynolds and receive a $1,000 cash credit card at closing. Raise your credit score to 750 or more. Call Ray Reynolds at 800-938-7286.
前方1公里处靠右行驶，然后马上靠左行驶。
And how he can fix and improve your credit score.
现在靠左行驶，然后继续沿着 I-90东行驶。
Reynolds at 800-938-7286. 800-938-7286.
Anderson Cooper 360, asking the questions.
Is the administration taking this threat seriously?
And keeping them honest.
American citizens can handle the truth.
Anderson Cooper 360, weeknights at 8 on CNN, SiriusXM 116. Aaron Burnett out front.
I want to go now to an incredible story of survival.
Understanding the story on a human level.
Would you do it all again in terms of being a nurse?
I want to help people more than I ever have.
Weeknights at 7 on CNN, SiriusXM.
前方1公里处驶出右侧出口。
For many, the Obamas represent the triumph of inspirational politics. But Michelle's optimism is tempered by what she calls the ugly red versus blue dynamic, which has taken over Washington.
She goes to watch her husband give his first speech to
前方900米，请驶出右侧出口79B 往 Northumberland Falkland equals CMNC。
sea, as she describes it, sea of whiteness and maleness. And she is very aware of the body language and the expressions of many Republicans.
The American people expect us to build common ground.
Michelle watches as all the Republicans remain seated.
现在驶出右侧出口往 Northumberland Falkland equals CMNC。
Michelle Obama and her sleeveless dress.
前方400米处靠右行驶，然后向右转。
Wasn't criticized.
前方300米处靠右行驶，沿着 I-190C 行驶往 Cumberland Falkland equals CMNC dot。 请沿道路行驶2公里。前方1公里处驶出右侧出口。
Who was white. Non-white Americans have for years looked at a white first lady and were still able to say that she represented them. But I think it becomes much more challenging for
前方900米，请驶出右侧出口81L 往 IL43 Harlem Falkland equals CMNC.
Her as an alien.
4 months into the Obama's first term, Michelle takes her first official trip abroad, accompanying her husband to London. The next
现在驶出右侧出口往 IL43 Harlem Falkland equals CMC.
But she wasn't just going to go as a figurehead and just as a spouse. She actually wanted to interact.
前方500米处向左转。
Visit to a girls' school a few miles across London, but worlds away from Buckingham Palace.